2, 1.
I want to thank you so much indeed for joining us on Front Row Politics here on Control TV from, of course, Nigeria, and to our viewers from across the world. You're welcome once again. I am Gimbo Umar. We're being joined by YUNUSA TANKO, the spokesperson of the Peter Obi Presidential Campaign Council. He joins us from Kaduna. YUNUSA, you're so welcome on the show.
Thank you very much for having me, and good morning.
You have just barely a few days. I'm just trying to fact check on a few things with you. Your candidates have now been cut down to 7. Is that true?
Our candidate has been cut down to 7?
To 7, as in 7 people are running now for under the umbrella of LP for the governorship elections in Edo State. Is that true?
No, at the moment, the last time I checked, for those who came for the screening, there were 10 candidates, 10 aspirants, as it were. And out of the 10 aspirants, 3 were female. So, you how gender positive we are. We have like 3 females and 1 male. She's a pediatrics doctor, and 1 is an academic doctor, and another 1 too is an academic doctor. So I think we have 10 at the moment now.
How far has it been right from after the presidential elections? I've not had an opportunity to have a one-on-one with you. I mean, after the presidential elections, the OB movement was really powerful at the time. As a matter of fact, for the presidential elections, you overwhelmingly won in Edo State for Peter Obi. Do you think that this will be a repeat as we move into the governorship elections in Edo State, because you have the PDP that is incumbent still in power and very, very potent? What do you think, YUNUSA?
Well, the fact still is that while we are still hopeful that our faithful still remains with us, we will not shy away from the fact that there are other dynamics that have come into the politics in Edo State as it were. So truthfully, we are only hoping that we will get that particular milestone and the support will help to establish that. So the caliber of person who emerged from Edo primary of the Labour Party will help us confirm our ability and possibility of winning a landslide victory in Edo State. Of course, you know, the battle is drawn within the 3 senatorial districts: Edo South, Edo Central, and Edo North. Both Edo North and Edo South have actually had a taste of the leadership, as it were. So those who are clamoring for a candidate to emerge from them is the Edo Central. Interestingly, they command the largest part of the total voting population of Edo, to a point of 1.2 million people, as the case may be. So that is where the dynamics is. So we are hoping that the people, even though we open our our primary to election, will play out to meet the general election. What I mean by that is that if the primaries of our party produce a candidate that is overwhelmingly required or being desired people, that is probably Edo Central, may help us in winning the elections, because party primaries are different, and then the state election is different. So we are hoping that the people within the party will do the right thing and elect the right person that has the capacity, and then trajectory to win the
a very, very key point you mentioned there: capacity and, of course, character are very, very crucial when it comes to electing people into governorship positions, presidential positions, legislative positions, and just also we have good governance. But you are contending with the PDP. I did ask you, perhaps you forgot that part of the question. You are currently going to be facing the PDP that is incumbent. Do you think that your candidates, any one of them, some people have pointed at, not that I'm holding brief for anyone, Olumide, as one person that could very well have that pedigree. Do you think you can unseat the PDP when it comes to these governorship elections in Edo State?
Yeah, I believe we can. With the right poll, we will defeat whoever is ruling. Because with all due respect, the PDP have to. An example, I was in Edo. All the entry points to Edo State have in terms of road. Or from the northern part, you have to pass through Auchi to get into the states. You will go through a journey that's supposed to take about 1 hour. You may have to take about 4 to 5 hours before you get to Edo State. If you're coming from Enugu, entering to Edo State, the kind of bad road that are within that particular exit, which is a trade route between Edo and Lagos, it takes you nothing less than 3 to 4 hours. You have to go and meander through another route to be able to enter Edo State. Not talk about Lagos. So all of it, Edo, very, very bad about the incumbent leadership. And Edo have not to match up to the standard in which it has been known for. So therefore, the decay in this particular narrative of deliverance of variables to the people will give us an edge to be able to defeat the PDP. If you go to the common person on the streets, all they are appealing to us is that let us just bring all the right candidates. They are willing to come out and vote for the Labour Party. That, anywhere. So as far as we are concerned, we have very good, capable candidates. Like I said earlier on, there are 3 senatorial districts in Edo State that are vying for these positions. The narrative is that people want a candidate central. Olumide Akpata, a very capable person, intellectually based, former MBA chairman, and has capacity, competent. He is so articulate in terms of presentation. He comes from the southern part of the Edo State. Of course, you know, guys, Godwin Obaseki come from the southern part of Edo State. That means that he's leaving the seat now. If another southern Edo man will take over the seat. Now, in this
I'm not sure Tanko is still with us. There seems to be some network connectivity issues where he is in Kaduna State. But we've been looking very closely at the primaries that are coming up for Labour Party in Edo State as the state gears up for the governorship elections. We've already seen some or other parties come up with, their flag candidates. We saw that of APC just yesterday. Mr. Dahosa, he was the candidate for the APC, and he is also has asked the people to rally around him and those who contested against him to come together. He wants to see a time of building. He says that the primaries are over now. What is more important is to come together to try to win the governorship, and that's he's very particular about. But we're going to be watching very closely to see how well he's able to do that. Talking about the APC candidate that emerged just yesterday in Edo State ahead of the elections. One a very important thing is that the Labour Party, they seem to be having an issue leading up to the governorship elections there. They have a 30 million naira price on their tickets for nomination. Uh, some of them have kicked against it and asking that perhaps that is not the right thing to do at this time. But that's on for another day to be tackled. But right now, they are set and ready to go into the elections. They will go into the primaries first before any other thing is done. But we think that Tanko is trying to rejoin us at this time. He is trying to rejoin us. As soon as we're able to get Tanko back online again, we shall continue this conversation. But for now, we'll go on a short break. We'll go. Okay, we understand that Tanko is back. Tanko, if you can hear me, I was just, you were at the point where you were talking about the pros and the capacity of some of your candidates. Could you just conclude on that? I was just looking at the analysis of your party as a build-up to the governorship elections with regards to the nomination forms. And a good thing is that the National Working Committee of your party at its meeting on Tuesday approved 5 million naira as the cost of the expression form and cost of interest to be 25 million naira for the nomination forms. That is correct, isn't it?
Yeah, but also it's good to state that for any female candidate, the issue of expression of interest fee of 5 million have been taken off. So all female candidates don't pay the 5 million, but and then they also pay half of the total amount for the expression of interest, which is about 12.5 million. So that's what it's for female candidates, and it's only the male candidate that actually paid that length of the sum that you already stated.
Okay, that's been clarified now. Tanko, you were at the point where you were giving out some, very interesting statistics about the capacity of the people that are being fielded for the primaries of Labour Party for the elections in Edo State. Now, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this very clearly, Tanko, because it seems to be a tug of war for politicians at moments like this. What assurance do you have after these elections, after the primaries, that Labour Party will sway higher and soar higher and produce the next governor of Edo State?
While I get the paper, and then the threshold the people are asking is just simple, that they want a free and fair primary that will the candidate the flag. If we are them a free and fair internal primary, they are assuring us that they will Emma candidate. Not only that, we also appeal the aspirants that they're in one person. And so they must work together to support whoever out at 50% of 100 than to 0% of 100. 50% of 100. So this particular statement will drum it into the ears of our aspirants to know that the party needs them to support the candidate that emerges at the primary. We don't want them to go into the issue of litigation after the primary and hold every beat and all. Rather, whoever wins, they should all put their resources together to support that particular candidate, considering that we're trying to unseat a sitting a governor of a PDP in that particular state. In order to make sure we do what they require, what the populists require in Edo State, the party put in place a simple mechanism of all in some direct primary and indirect primary. So in our what we intend to do is this: primaries will start at the ward level. All the ward members from the 18 local governments will conduct a within themselves and bring out two persons. Two persons will now move into the local government from each of the ward and then elect 5 to 7 persons. You know, some wards are bigger than some other wards. Some may have 12, some may have 10, some may even have 9. So, but then we made it a uniform way in which each of the local government will produce 5 delegates or 7 delegates uniformly. That way, those ones will be the one that will go to the primary and elect the candidate of the party. So just to stimulus of into the so they have to go down to the grassroots and campaign for the people. They should go to the grassroots and candidates of their choice. Don't also forget, such campaigns too, on the grassroots, campaigning in the party and all, the people within that particular metropolis or within that area also come to know that Labour Party is contesting. So it popularized the party from the grassroots. These are part of the assurances that we are expecting that our candidate would eventually get.
Now, Tanko, I'm sure you've been watching the political space, especially when it comes to your party as against other parties, especially for the Edo State governorship elections. APC has had a parallel primaries. 2 candidates have been announced as winners for that party. Will that kind of scenario play out for Labour Party? And if it does, what are you going to do?
Well, as far as we are concerned, we are trying as much as we can to avoid having a parallel primary. Every mechanism that needs to be put in place by the party has been put in place. We are trying to synergize with the states, with the national. Day before yesterday, I was in Abuja before I come to Kaduna, and we had the screening. And virtually, I visually saw most of the major candidates before I left Abuja. So they came for the screening. So, and I'm not aware that anybody is doing any screening somewhere that may even produce a parallel leadership. So, as far as we are concerned at the moment, we have screened like almost 10 persons, and they've come to the headquarters of the party and they are screened. And now they are going back to Edo for the delegates elections to monitor and ensure that the delegates who have been elected according to the positions of the National Executive Council, according to the party, according to the guidelines that was already been put in place for the primary. So we are hopeful and prayerful that nobody will go behind and start creating a parallel primary as we saw in other political parties.
Okay, Tanko, just before we let you go, I'm just wondering also about these elections and the probability that INEC will, do the rightful thing. Because the last time coming out, it was not very good. At least those are the feelers that we got as men of the fourth estate of the realm, the press, that INEC didn't perform as expected. What are your expectations for INEC?
Well,
ahead of these elections?
INEC have been perpetually mismanaging the election of Nigeria at the moment now. At the last election I witnessed in Udenu, Ibueze, in Enugu, it was so, at least I would say, as a patriotic citizen, because the Electoral Act had given room for manipulation as being by our judiciary, unfortunately. We're about having electronic, pronouncement of results using the IRF as a point of call. Immediately there's an election in every polling unit, the officer will snap the result, put it on the IRF, and then, it. That way they can collate. But because of the abysmal performance of INEC during the presidential election, of course, this is Federal House of Reps and Senate. Now, the judges have given them room to collate manually, bringing us back 100 years. I mean, when I say 100 years, I mean it's bringing us back to those particular bad decades of collation of results manually. In Udenu, Ibueze, the elections, INEC went into the election polls. Some of them went there with result sheets. It's amazing. And by the time we caught some of them, we were able to apprehend them. They come out with a fictitious written result sheet. And that was what was collated manually, because if the result could have been collated at the polling unit itself, according to provisions of the IREF and the Electoral Act, you will have taken off those manipulative tendencies. So now INEC knew this. In fact, they canceled some elections in Enugu State, even though it did not the result, because our candidate lost after him having about 12.5 million, 12,500. He has 12,500 votes on his kitty, but they were able to manipulate him out, and the PDP guy got 13,000. So you can, amazing, isn't it? That's what happened. Now, coming to Edo, let me use this opportunity to warn INEC. Warning in a derogative statement, but warning in an advisory position. Edo is not like any other state. Edo people are very highly enlightened people, and they are willing to stand up for what they believe in, even if they will lose their lives. So as long as INEC will not do anything correctly in Edo, it may come up with a lot of violence. So I would advise that INEC do the right thing in Edo so that we can avert any form of violence in Edo State. People will be determined to vote for the candidate of their choice. They will be determined to ask questions. They will be determined to follow the procedures as being established. Even at the point of polling units, they will ask each of these particular agents, where is the result? Are the documents complete for the elections? If they're not complete, I can tell you that particular officer may not survive or escape that particular position. So, sure that as an election officer, if you are not armed with the right document to be at polling units, policemen should be at the polling units. The army should guide the peripheral area of that particular to avert any kind of intruders. Then the other security agencies should also take care of the security and ensure that the right thing is done. If that happens, I can tell you that INEC will rate itself high. I've been in Edo for the previous election that brought in Godwin Obaseki. It was one of the best elections. The results were reported accordingly. In fact, that was where we put the electoral of result to test. I was an observer, and it went very well. The result that came out from each of the polling units were the results that were collated and the result was announced. I hope and wish that INEC will take a cue from what it did in the last election that brought in Godwin Obaseki to this particular situation, and then also transfer it to Ondo State, because they go pari passu. That is to be expected from INEC. Anything short of that may not be accepted by the people, and they may violently reject it.
I'll take that as your final words as we bring this to a close. I must sincerely thank you, YUNUSA TANKO, the spokesperson of the Peter Obi Presidential Campaign Council leading up to the 2023 presidential elections and still holding forth for the Labour Party. I want to thank you so much indeed for sharing your thoughts with us as the people of Edo State decide, and hopefully we'll see who comes out in a matter of days now, who comes out as your party preferred candidate to run for governor of Edo State. And I hope you'll be available again to grant us your precious time to get your thoughts on the final verdict and who has become the flag bearer for your party, the Labour Party.
I will. May the spirit of Queen Idia in Edo help us in making sure that the right thing. May God Almighty also protect us and make sure that the right thing is done. God bless you.
What do we say? We say amen to that. Thank you so much indeed for talking.
Nigeria. So if you put these things together, you find out that
in view of the scarce circulation of cash, the independent
credible. And so the emergent president-elect